I want you to tell the story about Lenny and the shopping centers.
Say it again?
Len and the shopping centers.
Oh, Len and the shopping center, yes. So he came to Lil and he said, I have to be in the shopping center a lot in the very beginning. You're hiring people, you've got to be with them to see what they're doing, you're buying things, you've got to see that they're buying things, It's very, very dense work. So he made a practice of going out there, staying for 2 weeks, and then coming back maybe for 2 weeks, then going again. Very, exhausting kind of work. And he handled most of it, but finally he came to Lillian and he said, I'm gone for so long, and my sexual, I'm not quoting his words, but what Lillian told me was that he said that he was there so often, and she knew he had very strong sexual desires, and so he wanted her permission to have a Tootsie out in California. And she said no, she wouldn't give him permission. He ought to change his schedule or get an assistant or do whatever it took to avoid that fixing job that she was talking about. So he said, well, I just don't think I have the ambition, let's say. He didn't say that. To be without sex for weeks and weeks at a time. I just would not be happy. So she said, I'm not happy either, but I don't want you sleeping with somebody else. So he said, well, I'm sorry I brought this up, and I think I ought to do, I'm not saying what I'm going to do, but I think I ought to do what makes me most comfortable in my job, not in my home. So Lillian said, if you're telling me you're going to have sex with somebody else on a regular basis, and that I should approve of that, you're making a mistake. I don't approve of it. And he said, well, I've told you because I love you and I don't want to lie to you. She said something like, well, I'm telling you that I don't think I can put up with that, and then if you want to do that, I'm going to divorce you. He said, you would divorce us with a wonderful marriage and a wonderful children, and all of that. So she said, oh, yes, I will. So he said, ha, ha, ha. And before he knew it, he was divorced. But they remained very friendly, and he gave her money. Somebody said to me that he'd never heard of anybody getting that kind of alimony. So it was a fortune, which is why she suddenly became very, very chic in her clothing.
How did he get into
what?
How did he get into malls, shopping malls?
Well, he got the original money for the shopping mall from my father, who he made an appointment with to ask for Lillian's hand in marriage. And my father was so used to his children running off and getting married without asking anybody that he was absolutely charmed. So while they were talking about the mall, Leonard said something like, he never told me, but I gather, he needed a companion to be married to, and that was the other reason he was here for, because he would like to ask for Lillian's hand in marriage. And my father practically jumped at him, because Lillian was not married and didn't have any prospects. And my father was just so pleased. So then my father said, I don't have any kind of money and I'd want to give her a nice marriage. Uh, uh, so I'd like to be able to count on you to help me. So my father said, well, what kind of money do you need now? He said, I need money to figure out how much money I need.